Hey, what's going on? What's going on with y'all, man? Y'all already know who this is. It's TK the poet. You already know it, so you ain't got to quote it. And if I spoke it, you already know what that means. Y'all wrote it. But we're not here for poetry tonight. We got a very special guest today. We have John the historian back in the building, man. He's back in the building. Give y'all some new perspectives on how to get your name back from the government that they stole. Yes, it's a lot of stealing been going on. So we gonna get down to the nitty gritty of it. But first, let me go ahead and bring up one of my co-hosts, that guy, to the stage. Gonna bring that guy to the stage. Let's go.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on?
Uh, what's happening, my boy?
Hey man, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are and what's going on.
Ah, shit, I'm that guy. Don't need to know too much about me, but hey, let's have a good time.
Okay, okay. My next co-host I'm gonna bring up is Marty Bar, Big Marty. Bring him to the stage one time. Let's see. All right, let's go. Hey, what's up with it, Marty? Hey,
Oh,
so
what's up?
man, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people who you are, and so we can go ahead and get this show moving.
Big Martin, man.
Okay,
Just simple and plain.
okay, man. How y'all weekend been going so far?
Kids got me running around. Been
Man,
watching basketball all weekend.
look. Hey, that's the great thing about kids that's in sport, man. They gonna make you get involved.
Nah, for real.
Hey, Marty, what's going on with you, man?
Man, it's been ups and downs like a
Hey,
seesaw.
like I say, hey, man, when your life, when you in the hospital, and you go to beep 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 beep, going up and down. Hey, that lets you know that you still got life in you. So as long as you going up and down, it's still life in you, man.
You
So
right?
that's one thing I can tell you. See, when you go have ups and downs, to let you know you still living. But
You right.
but we know. But we here, like I don't know what y'all know that what we really here for. We here to hear a great person speak about, trying to get your name back from the government and stuff like that, which the government been lying to us, man. Let me talk to the government real quick. Why y'all been lying to us? Why haven't y'all not be telling us the honest truth? You want us to be good citizens, right? You want us to be perfect citizens, right? But why have y'all been lying to us from the jump? But we gonna get into that. I'm gonna bring up John the historian to the building, man. Hey, what's
How
going
you
on?
doing? Doing well. Peace and
Hey, man.
love to everybody.
So go ahead and tell the people who you are, and go ahead and introduce yourself so they can get familiar about the guest speaker.
I'm just a guy that has been studying to try to show myself approved unto God, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, that can rightly divide the word of truth.
Okay.
And that's how I got to where I am today.
Okay.
I've been studying. I started out studying religion. Uh, I've gotten into politics. Today, I'm in a world that 3, 4 years ago was not even imaginable,
Mm.
but it's real. And I'm here to share some of that with your audience and with your two co-hosts.
Okay. 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 So, how do we get into this? So, getting your name back. You've been you've been having conversations. You've been on the 10 for your cap podcast, and you was saying that the government been holding back a lot of information from us. Where our social security is a router number in World Bank, where we got some money somewhere that they've been making money off of us, and they've been giving us like little crumbs, not even crumbs.
Not even crumbs.
So
So, what? You
go
want me to
ahead,
jump into it?
yeah, go ahead and jump into it, man.
Okay. The fraud begins with your birth certificate.
Mm,
The birth certificate, and we talked about this once before, but it's a commercial bond, is what it is, and it begins with just like any maritime law uh, transaction, it begins with a ship carrying cargo.
Mm.
So your mother is carrying you cargo, and she has to, like any ship, she has to berth at a dock. And when she berths at the dock, she has to unload her cargo.
Mm.
Now the dock master, the doctor,
Mm.
takes that cargo, and he takes the footprints and puts it on a certificate. It's his manifest. So he's identifying the cargo that she is dropping off, and that in turn is sold to the state. So from the very beginning, as a child, your mother, without knowing what the contract was all about, because they did not disclose, and all contracts have to be fully disclosed in order for them to be legitimate. Because what is a contract? It's a voluntary,
Yeah.
it's a voluntary act on both parts. And in that contractual world, they have to fully disclose both sides of the contract. Otherwise, the contract is null and void from the beginning. So
what is that contract?
Well, when the birth certificate goes back to the Vatican. Now, the Vatican, you've heard the term, he is worth his weight in gold.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that term? That guy, you heard that term?
Say it again. My bad.
He is worth, or she is worth her weight or his weight in gold.
Yes,
You've heard
that term. Yes.
Well,
I
it comes.
A guy that talks like that he knows, and I'm trying to get a hold of him. But yes.
Yeah, you need to, because he's probably got information that you need that he can relate to you about this whole thing that would give you a witness. So what the Pope did is took that amount of gold, whatever you weighed, and put it into a trust account, a Sister KV trust account. And then they added an insurance policy. So for somebody your age, like my age, they put in, I don't know, $650,000 into my account, and then doubled it with the insurance policy. Now that's the reason they did that is because they began taking the gold and silver out of the economies.
Mm.
And according to the rules, there's no way to pay off your debt without real money, which is gold and silver.
Right.
So they had to make a way to do that, and they did it with a trust account where they put money in there. It's the equivalent of what they figured your life's energy and money making prowess would be, and that's supposed to pay for everything. Well,
so go ahead. No, not George. Go ahead.
So they put that into an account, and that is connected. Today, it's connected to your Social Security number without the dashes. And it is in one of the Federal Reserve banks, whether it's Philadelphia or Dallas or Washington, D.C., Seattle, wherever there's 7 of them. It's in one of those accounts. And what you're originally supposed to do, that they didn't tell us how to do this, they didn't disclose it to us, is when you got a bill, you're supposed to send it to them and they pay for it. You write your account number on it. There's a certain way you do it, and you send it to them, and it gets paid. But they did not disclose that. And in the meantime,
so hold on, really, cut your wisdom. But you saying that we can send a bill with our Social Security number, but it's a special way to do it, and they have to pay that bill.
Yeah, you can take every one of your bills that you paid. You could gather them up. You've paid bills for food and for groceries and for your house and for everything, your electricity, and you take it. You could take it to one of those banks with your account in it, and you turn it over to them. They'd pay you cash for it. They'd give you the equivalent. Yeah, that's how it. Federal Reserve banks.
Oh, Federal Reserve Bank. Oh, so you got to go to the Federal Reserve Bank.
Federal Reserve Bank that has your account.
Mm.
So you got to figure out which one it is. On my Social Security card when I was young, the before the card number there was a letter, and I think mine was P for Philadelphia. So my account was in Philadelphia, so I'd have to go there to do it. You know, it's a pain in the butt. You know, but I mean, come on, you got $8,000 that you paid out in the month, and you or at my when I was younger, it was probably, you know, I don't know, 1,500. Well, that was a lot of money at that time. You know, 180 years ago. So you could
not 180 years ago.
Well, almost. So that's how it goes. But back to the birth certificate.
Yeah.
They would not allow your mother to take you out of that hospital without giving that baby you a name. You had to have a name that they could attach to that account so they could sell it. And they franchised and copyrighted the surname. See, before I was John Alexander, the son of Alex, you know, or you'd be the son of your father. And you would write all your information, all your name and everything in your Bible. And you carried that Bible, that family Bible, and everybody got a family Bible with all the information in it. And that's how you carried your information throughout history. Well, today they did it different, you know. And they added the name, the surname, which is a corporate structure. And they have attached your name to that corporate structure. And so they're putting all of our names and using them to put to build, not build, but it's to create franchises all over the world with our name on it. Now, I tell you this because the woman I'm studying under, who set up the American States Assemblies, like our original founding fathers did, got a letter. Now, this woman was a Supreme Court justice, not a judge. She's not in that system, the law system that, you know,
So what's the difference?
Well, you know, lawyers have to take an oath, right? And you take an oath to the bar to be a lawyer, and you have to pass the bar and then take an oath, right? Well, most people don't know what the acronym for bar is, and so I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's British Accreditation Registry. Now, who are you giving an oath to? Number one, Britain. Number two, the word registry means king in Latin.
So hold on, Dick. I think the guy had something. What's up, the guy?
Hey, that's just like when you in court. The way court is set up, it's like a certain man say, man, I can't remember what it's called, but when you go to court, it's a whole different meaning, a whole different ball game. So like, if you get like a jury, like when you said, I can't really explain it because it was explained to me, so I don't want to mess it up.
Well, let me just tell you, just real quick, like about the court. That is a foreign jurisdiction.
Yes.
It is. You go into those courts and you look at the flags. The flags have gold tassels around the flags. That denotes a military court. You're in a military court and it's run by Britain. The crown is working for the Vatican, and the Vatican owns all those courts. The municipalities are run by the Vatican, and the territorial government, because we have two governments, we have two presidents that nobody ever knows about. They think there's only one, but we have two governors. And Anna has on her website an explanation of how this actually happened through history. And it culminated in the Civil War. These two governance groups that were hired by our original government when they lost the War of Independence the Revolutionary War, the losers had to pay. So how are you going to make the Vatican pay, and how are you going to make the Crown in London pay?
Right.
So, well, the obvious thing is, well, the Crown has ships, and they can protect our merchandise that goes from our land to the other lands. They can protect it, and they can protect our borders. So they set them up as the territorial governance agency of the United States of America. The Vatican, because they know how to whip people into shape, they became the court systems, the municipalities. So the Vatican runs municipal government, the Crown, the territorial, and it worked fine until they started taking over, and one group got in trouble because they were going into debt. The Northern group, which is today the Republican Party, they went to war with the South, the Vatican, because they were bankrupt, and they went to the South and said, "Hey, help us with our bills. Y'all have got gold." They said, "We're not going to help you with our bills. That's your mess. You pay for it." Well, they went to war. So these two foreign governance agencies, corporations, private corporations, went to war with each other and created the Civil War. And the cover was, we're freeing the slaves. What? Here's the catch. They made it illegal to have private slaves. But the 14th Amendment made everybody public slaves. We're all slaves.
So what you mean by public slaves?
Okay, so with the birth certificates, now you've got an account that was set up by the Pope, right? That's what we were talking about before. And it's somewhere, you know, we didn't know where it was at, or we didn't even know it was there, but it was there. So how are they going to get you to give them power over those accounts? So they wrote up these contracts and they did all this stuff, and they said, hey, listen, they have to volunteer by law every 5 years. So how are we going to get them to volunteer to turn over their inheritance and give us their name and their proxy vote when they didn't disclose it to us? How are we going to do that? So they came up with a fantastic idea. Hey, we're your government, and we're going to have elections. And every 4 years, you get to vote. You get to vote for who you want to be president. How many of you know that's not real? You don't vote for who you want. You vote for who they want.
Yeah.
And this is the Crown on one side giving you Biden, giving you Trump, and then the Vatican municipalities on the other side giving you Biden. And the Vatican has created the corporate structure, so they get money from all corporations. They're drawing money from everybody, so they own everything. So you think you have a choice? You have no choice. You got no choice.
Yeah. I heard a saying, slavery didn't end. You just get to pick what owner you work for now. Like, it's more on the corporate structure. If you think about it, it's more structured than back in the day. Like, a lot of people still get a lot of gain from it, but it's not. It's like a Ponzi scheme type.
Yeah.
Ordeal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scam. The whole thing is a scam. So anyhow, they took your name with that birth certificate, and they contracted with you as a baby. That's a real contract, right? That's a legit contract, right? I don't think so.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. But see, you didn't know that. We didn't know that at the time. We're innocent. We're all innocent. So that's the whole key. So the birth certificate gave them access to your inheritance, because everything that comes out of the land belongs to the people in a sovereign nation, which America was set up to be. See, we're the only nation on earth that was given the right to own the land underneath where we lived. So if you had a home, you own not only the home, but the land underneath you.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you don't own anything. How come you don't own anything? Why? How did that happen that at one point we owned the land and now they tax us out of it?
Mm. You're right.
See, as an American, you're not supposed to be taxed. But because we registered with these people when we registered our cars, or we got a driver's license, or we registered our marriage. Come on, your marriage, you need to register to them to get permission to marry. Are you kidding me? But we didn't know.
And everything.
Yeah. So when you do that, in there somewhere, in all their fine print everywhere that nobody reads, right? Nobody ever reads the fine print. It's too long. It's too small. And it's written in a language that, in reality, it's not even English. And I'll explain that in just a second. So you register with them and you turn over your inheritance to them. Now, Trump, it used to be in the Federal Reserve had a hold of it. Trump, before he left office, moved everything into the Treasury, which is better. You know, it's not owned by the Brits anymore. It's in the actual American Treasury. And that was a good move. That's the one good thing he did, or one of them. And so now it's going to be a little bit easier for us to undo what they have done. But I'm going to show you, if I can find it here.
Like this is some real deep stuff what we get into, man.
It's mind blowing. This is going to blow your mind even more. I don't know if you can see, but see this piece of paper? Mm-hmm. You see where it says glossa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to read this to you. Anybody wants to take a screenshot, they can take a screenshot of that. But I'm going to read it to you. I'll send it to you, TK. Okay. I'll send it to you, and you can put it in the chat, or you can do whatever you want to with it. Okay. But if you see up here at the top, it says right here, the Chicago Manual of Styles, 16th edition. Mm-hmm. Glossa. So every court in the world, because almost all countries are corporations now, and they're all registered under the New York Stock Exchange, they use the same rule book. This comes out of their rule book. And it says glosses in ASL, which is American Sign Language. Mm-hmm. The written language transcription of a sign is called a gloss. Glosses are words from the spoken language written in small capital letters, and it's in all capital. You see it right? Well, you see it right there. Can you see woman, school, and cat? Mm-hmm. Woman, where'd it go? Woman, school, and cat. Yeah. So it says it there. Alternatively, regular capital letters may be used. But listen to this. When two or more written words are used to gloss a single sign, we're not talking about words, we're talking about signs. The glosses are separated by hyphens. The translation is enclosed in double quotation marks. The sign for a car drove by. So it's telling you how to write a car drove by. So you're going to get a ticket and they're going to say, hey, a car drove by. And they're going to tell you that it is written. Wait, where'd it go? It is written vehicle drive by. See the hyphens?
Mm-hmm. So what is the hyphens?
The hyphens connect one word to another to string a sentence together. Otherwise, that word stands on the page alone, and it has no meaning in context to any of the other words. So you get a contract called a ticket, and they say you did all this stuff, and it's signed by the officer, the policeman, the policy man. He signs it first. He has to sign it first, and then he gives it to you to sign at the X. Well, in Black's Law's dictionary, an X is a mark. It's a signature.
Okay.
It's somebody's sign. So if you remember all the pirate movies where, matey, and they ask him, can you write? And he go, no, I can't write. And he said, well, put your mark there. And they put an X. Well, somebody signed it already. So you don't have to sign it. They already paid for it. But you don't know that. So what they're getting you to do is overwrite their X. And if you ever look at the line underneath that X and where your signature is going, it's not a line. It is words. And it says authorized signature, authorized all the way across. Get you a little jeweler's loop or a little magnifying glass and go into a restaurant and look at their receipts and look at that line and you'll see. But
I'm about to check that out because that's kind of crazy. That's kind of wild.
Yeah. So, but why? Because everything's already paid for. But you see, you didn't know that. You don't know what the rules are. You don't know how to read their language. You don't, it just goes on and on. But this is the clincher. Now, look, this book that this comes out of is global. It's used everywhere. It's like one of the biggest Bibles you've ever seen. It's huge. It's like this thick, and there's, I don't know, 3,000 pages, and it's all full of legalese and stuff that you can't read or understand or know. But the next line, dang it, TK. There's got to be a better way. Anyhow, the next line here, it says one obvious. Let me see if I can show you. One obvious limitation of the use of glosses from spoken written language to, what did I say? Represent signs is that there is no one-to-one correspondence between the words or signs in any two languages. Now, what does that mean? This language of all capitals doesn't have an equivalent in any other language. You can't connect it to English. You can't connect it to Spanish. You can't, no language. So what is this? What's this contract that I just made you sign? What is it? Nothing. There is no contract. Nobody's loaning you anything for a car or for a house. Why? Because they're taking it out of you're loaning them the money. You signed a promissory note for your mortgage and you gave it to them and they didn't give it back to you. They're supposed to give you that promissory note within 90 days, but you never received your promissory note. So you don't owe them anything. Or this contract they gave you, it doesn't mean anything. What language is it? You go to a judge and say, hey, judge, can you tell me what edition that you're using in this court out of the Chicago Manual of Styles for Symbolic Language? Because I can't read your language. I don't know what it means. Well, what do you mean you don't know what it means? You can read it, can't you? Yeah, but I don't understand it. It's not English. What do you mean it's not English? It's written like that. Well, no, according to your rules, here's your rules right here. It has no correspondence to any two languages. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. It's going to make up stuff. It's just ethereal. It doesn't mean anything.
Because the hyphen words mean something totally different. If the word is hyphen, that means that word has nothing to do with the next word.
Without it, it has nothing to do. If you have the hyphens, you can string a sentence and you can put that whole contract into a sentence that means something. But they don't do it that way.
They do it from under the dotted lines.
They trick you into thinking it's English,
Mm.
but it's not. And you think it's English because you can read it, but they know it's not English, and it has no meaning whatsoever. And they're just tricking you into giving them money, because the money's not going into your account. You'd say, well, I took it out of my account and I'm going to pay it back to my account or something, you know? But you're not doing that.
So I
Not
got
at
a
all.
question. So how did you come across this information?
Well, I started studying this about 15 years ago.
Mm.
And here's the thing about whatever this thing we live in, they ain't going to tell you. But the Bible calls it a matrix.
Mm.
You know what the definition for matrix is?
No, go ahead and tell. But you know what? I heard that before, but go ahead and tell me.
It's a womb.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do in a womb? You plant a seed, and the seed grows. Right? So
Right.
every thought, well, that's going to mess up your recording, isn't it?
No, you good.
Every thought is literally in this structure, that this construct we live in, is a seed.
Mm-hmm.
It goes, so shall the word that goes out of my mouth be. It shall not return unto me void, but it will go to where I sent it, and it will return with what I sent it to do.
Mm.
Everything is a seed. Everything is power. Everything has life. Our words have life. Our thoughts have life. And they go into this womb and they plant somewhere, and it grows, and it gives you the fruit. So whatever you sow, you're going to reap. Well, so I started, really, it started by asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm crying out sometimes you know, you look at me now and you see I'm just the happiest dude in the world, you know, but at one time I was not happy. I was sad. I'm heartbroken because I don't understand. So I asked for understanding. Show me, teach me. There's got to be a way out of this mess, because what I was dealing with my personal life, I was having a hard time overcoming. And it got me down all the time. I mean, I'm fighting, and I'm losing the battle. So the answers started coming. And it began, well, I'll just tell real quick. I had I went through a bad period of economically, because I had a son that had 7 brain surgeries within 6 years or something like that. Well, major surgery. That'll wipe you out. Yeah. I mean, everything's gone. Everything's gone. Nothing. I can't make my car payment. I can't get to the biggest trade show of the year. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my family, everything. It's going to crumble. So I was in the Jewish community and learning from a rabbi the gospel of Jesus Christ, and all that stuff. None of it worked. So I don't know how I came across it, but it was. I'm reading in the Bible where Isaac is in the field. It says his father sent for a bride, and it says Isaac was in the field in meditation.
Right.
And that's when his bride showed up. So at that point, okay, meditation has something to do with it. It's the key, actually. The whole book is about meditation.
Third eye.
I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Eye.
And that's why Jesus said, he said, if your eye be single, your whole body will fill with light. So he's teaching meditation because he's teaching about the temple, the tabernacle. Well, we're the temple, you know. It's not a building out there or a building that was in the past. Those people never existed, I don't believe. Because every culture in the world has the exact same story. There's 16 risen Christ, sacrificed Christ, saviors. And they all had crowns of thorn, and on and on and on. 12 disciples. I mean, It's the exact same story. So it can't be about just one person. It's a mythology. But the myth is real because it's based on us. You have 12 systems that run in your body. You have 12 cranial nerves that connect to your brain. And then where they connect, they split into two. So there's 24 elders sitting around the throne of God. Well, where's the throne of God? It's in Peniel, where Jacob met God face to face and didn't die, and his life was preserved. And when you go into the Hebrew for preserved, it's not solved. And the picture language tells you if you want to renew your life, you have to hook the tongue. Well, that's meditation. I mean, I can go on. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like this. So
hey, break it down, John. You talking, John.
Yeah. So when I figured that out, I started meditating between first fruits and Pentecost, which is 49 days. And why 49? Well, I had found out, I'd researched the pineal gland and found out that 49 days after you're conceived, the pineal gland, which is in the very middle of your brain, and it's an eye that looks straight up from the middle of your brain. It goes right down your tube all the way through your anus. It's that tube that it becomes operational on the 49th day. So it's got to be connected to the Jubilee. So when you study the Jubilee, it says you have to cause the trumpet to sound. Well, if this Bible is about the internal temple, what's the trumpet? Well, we got to have a trumpet. Okay. Well, we do. It's called Ammon's horn. And it just so happens to surround the pineal gland. And it's a ram's horn. It's a ram's horn. And when you hum, you hear it buzzing. You're causing the trumpet to sound. And it says when you do that, you're going to be restored to your family and to your possessions. Well, the word possessions is gives a picture of where Abram buried his family in a burial cave. Well, where's your family buried? In you, in your DNA. So in meditation, you open up the DNA because that's where your ancestors live. And look at the information that's in there. It goes all the way back to the beginning. Somebody's got the answer for you. Somebody knows the answers. Somebody knows how to call and resonate to the other DNA to get your answer. So that's what the scientists in South America found out with the shamans when they went down there and said, how do you know to heal all these people? How do you know that this plant on this side of the Amazon and way over here on the other side of the Amazon, when you put them together, they create a chemical that heals what you're trying to heal? And they said, well, the plant spoke to us. Well, it's not the plant, it's the DNA in the plant. So DNA in meditation speaks to DNA in the plant, and it's all this. It's just resonating, and you hit the right frequency, and all of a sudden, the frequencies join together, and the transfer of information happens. And that is called intercourse. And that's what this whole world is about. Intercourse. That's it.
Once you find your frequency, it cannot be stopped.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So
it can't be broken.
That's how it began. And so I started meditating, and I'm broke. I mean, I can't even I can't get nowhere. I can't go to work because I don't have any gas money. I have nothing. But I'm in the jewelry business, and I make skating jewelry for the world. I had been for all those years. So on the 49th day, I get an email from a gal in Australia. And she says, listen, the kids down here, they love your stuff. If you don't have a distributor, I would love to be your distributor. And if so, I want to order. Here's my order. Tell me how long it's going to take. I looked at it, emailed her back. I said, it's going to take about a month. She goes, I need it within 2 weeks. Okay. So I went after it. Well, it was enough money to get me from that point on, probably 9 years ago, to COVID, when they shut the economy down. And I had to go to work for your local big box store. Yeah. Well, my business has picked up since then, and it's been okay. But I'm still working over there because I enjoy it. I have fun. I play on machines, and I have a blast with the people. But that's how it started. It started with asking the question and understanding that the reason you meditate is to Islam tells you have to cut the head off the infidel. Well, the infidel is the left hemisphere of your brain. And when I started understanding and learning about the brain and the body and how it functions and how everything works together, that's when all of this started coming together. And you have to stop the thinking process. That's why Jesus told you in Matthew 6, when they asked him how to pray, he said, take no thought. Well, that's meditation. You go into your prayer closet, you shut the door, and now you're in darkness, you're in silence, you lift up a prayer, and then you take no thought. That's meditation. And what is spirit? Spirit is breath.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's as simple as that. And that's why Habakkuk said, it's not by might, not by power, but by your spirit, by my spirit, saith the Lord. Well, what's the spirit of God? It's breath. You think that's air you're breathing? Morpheus? No, it's not air. It's God. Everything is God. I mean, you can't get away from it. So anyhow, that's how it began. And it has, the next stage was, somebody asked the question, what's the key to language? Well, shoot, I know the Bible. David had the keys to the kingdom. They were given to him. And Peter was given the keys to the kingdom. So I went looking for the word key in AOL when it first came up. And on the right side of the page, there's all this Jewish stuff here. And on this side of the page, there's all this stuff. What the heck is that? And it says 528 solfeggio frequency. So I started studying about energy. And it's fascinating in itself, but the original 6 days of creation were the original 6 solfeggio frequencies, and those frequencies is what holds everything together. Everything's vibration, and it led me to the Chladni experiments, where he chronicled every single kind of animal on Earth with running sand, a bow over a plate of sand, and with the different strokes of the bows, all these different shapes, turtle shapes, butterflies, everything showed up. And that was Chladni. So it threw me into another world of investigation. And from that point on, when you're broke, what are you going to do? You can't make a payment. And so I found out through a group called the Lighthouse Law Club is where I really got started on my education. And then I found Anna Von Reitz. Dude, this woman's going to change the world. It's already happening.
So tell us about Anna.
Anna, did I tell you about her getting the notice from the IRS?
Oh, well, you told me, but you haven't told
Okay.
the people.
She's a Supreme Court justice. She works for the people, not for the corporation, the British Crown Corporation. So her people were judges, Supreme Court justices in Alaska for generations. And one day she gets a letter from the IRS, and it says, you owe taxes on these 2 corporations. It just so happened to be outside the United States. So she goes to the IRS and says, hey, what's going on here? Why are you who gave you the right to use my name to set up a corporation and then want me to pay taxes for it? Oh, well, you made a mistake. No, you didn't make no mistake. And she got into it and found out what they're doing. And it all ties into the birth certificate and every time you register and on and on and on. And you turn your rights and your inheritance over to them to use as collateral to finance their wars and their criminal activity and everything else. So that's who she is. Once she found that out, she started doing her research and she's broken it down. And she has originally, when I got started in it, today she has a 1-page declaration, and it looks like this. It's a 1779, a declaration of the Naturalization Act of July 1779. Now, this thing has been in our system since then, but she has redone it, and you sign it a certain way, and you got to do things a certain way, and you have to have it notarized. Once you have it notarized, you fill that out. You do a piece of paperwork like this that has your picture on it, and then it has the witness that says that you are who you are, and then it gets notarized again, and you have to have 2 of them. Today they have a 1-page with 2 witnesses, and they can sign the same piece of paper, but I had to have 2 of them. I had to have 2 different ones, and I did that. Now, once that happens, you send it into I sent mine into this global group. I showed you that global group
Mm-hmm.
picture. I sent it into them, and they started the process. And through them, I became an American. Global Family 528 Project, Prosperity Project. I'll send the. This is a specific website on there, but I'll send you the link to the original one that I got to this group through,
Okay.
and it will it'll walk you through it. It'll explain everything you need to know. So anyhow, this right here, my battery's about to die, but I got about 10% left. I'm gonna have to get a cord to stick in here. But this is a Form 56. You can get this off the IRS website. Download it. You fill it out. She tells you exactly how to do it. You can go on her website and look up this information about the IRS, and one of the articles is going to tell you how to send this, your birth certificate, written a certain way. You're going to have to write in red ink up here certain things, and on the back you write certain things in red ink, and then you send this with copies to two other places, the Secretary of the State and the Governor of our state, and you tell them, I'm out of your system. And no more taxes. They can't touch you. They can't stop you on the street. They'll stop you on the street right now, but pretty soon it's getting to the point where they won't be able to stop you for not having tags or a driver's license or insurance, because you are fully indemnified as an American against all debt. It's paid for. Now that sounds crazy, doesn't it?
I mean, is that true? I mean,
yeah. Now there's still going to be a battle, because look, how are you going to educate the policemen that are stopping you, once a month or something and trying to throw you in jail for not having you have to. So the Texas assemblies, we have a Texas assembly, and I've finally gotten in touch with them, and I'm working with the coordinator. She's also the recorder, and some of my paperwork I used old forms off the website that they didn't update, and she's going to help me redo everything I need to do. I'm already an American. She said, you don't have to worry about that, but we just want to get your paperwork right and make sure that everything is done correctly to today's standards, all the stuff we've learned since we got started. And but the clincher is, how do we know it's real? Dude, I just got 5,000 American Federation dollars into an account that the equivalent in US dollars is 900,000 US dollars. And this is coming in every month. The people that went before me and did this, I think it started in January. So they've got 6 or 7 months, 5,000 a month.
So let's talk about that. So you were saying the 5,000 is equivalent to what you said, 500,
900,000 US dollars.
So
one American Federation dollars is equal to 180 US dollars.
So I mean, how would you be able to spend that? Or can you transfer it over? Or I mean,
yeah, well, no, you can. What's going to happen is, the BRICS nations are using gold-backed money. We're at war with the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, Korea, and there's more that have joined it. But the Federal Reserve is warring against them right now. They're gold-backed. All of this started when Gaddafi told the U.S., we don't want we want gold. You can pay us in Libyan dinar. It's gold. Well, what'd they do to him in that country? I'm telling you guys, he's going to go down as the greatest president, greatest leader in history. Yeah. Because of what he did for his people. He freed them. Everything came out of that land belonged to his people. If they wanted to go to college, it's free. If they wanted to get married, a year off. If they wanted a business, he gave them the loan. Everything. He built an underwater reservoir, an aqueduct, enormous, taking fresh water from Libya all the way down into Africa. The Northern Africa was going to be the Garden of Eden that was going to feed the world. And you know what they did? The Rothschild, Rockefeller, Federal Reserve banks, and their crooks, they bombed that water with plutonium bombs.
Mm.
It's dead.
Mm.
It can never be used. It can. There's a way to do it. But TK, there's something wrong with your camera system. I don't know what's going on. So anyhow, I don't know if I answered your question, but everything is fraud with these people, and there's so many lie upon lie upon lie that now they're getting caught in it. I mean, you see it happening up there. They can't tell you the truth. And this system, what's going to happen, there's people all over the world that have been working together for a number of years, and they're all sharing their information. The stuff that I told you about the Chicago Manual of Styles for Symbolic Language comes from Australia. Romley Stewart and Lauren Rowan. I forget the last name, but they're the ones that found this. Took them 7 years to find those 2 lines in that book that made the whole book fraud. And that's the one they're using in the court systems. Mm. People need to know this. They need to know that all you have to do, look, because this is run by the Vatican, and we talked about this once before, but for this audience, when you go into a court setting, they call you in for a ticket or whatever. Don't you ever sit down. Don't sit down. You stand up the whole time, because that judge is going to come in and they're going to say, the bailiff is going to say, all rise. Mm-hmm. And all them people are going to stand up. Well, you didn't stand up for that judge. You tell the bailiff, I'm standing right here. He's going to say, no, you go ahead and sit down. No. I'm fine. I'm standing right here. I'm going to be standing right over there, wherever. I'm going to be standing. Because what he is doing, as he has set up a franchise of corporations that are in your name. Now, what does corpse mean?
Dead body.
Yeah, it's a dead body. So, but wait a minute, he's got a corporation, it's got your name on it, and he brings you into a public setting, and when they say all rise and you stand up, what have you just what happened to you? They just raised you from the dead. Yeah. Now, the religious promise of raising you from the dead has just happened. They kept their promise. They raised you from the dead. They ain't raising you from a physical death. They're it's all shenanigans. It's all sleight of hand. You know, look over here and I got your pocket here. That's what they're doing. So that's what happens in their world. Their world is a fictitious world. It's not real. It's the acronym for law is land, air, and water. So
so explain that real quick. You saying the acronym for law is land, air, and water?
Yes, that's 3 different jurisdictions. Okay. Now we have 3 major countries that rule the world: Rome, mm-hmm. England, or the mm-hmm. Crown in London. That's 2, and then the United States is 3. So the United States is the military. They're gonna deal with the land. Britain, the Crown, is the maritime law. That's your corporate law. They're dealing with insurances and corporations and whatever goes on in between the seas. There's mm-hmm. your water jurisdiction. And then the Vatican is the air jurisdiction. They're dealing in concepts of patents and design and all of the stuff that deals in the ethereal realm of the mind.
Mm.
That's why they're trying to read your mind right now with everything, all the tools. They're trying to read your mind so they can know, they can play
That
God and know. So that's the acronym, and that's how it works.
ain't,
And but when you go into a
Dang,
court,
man.
when you go into a court, the judge will act in all three jurisdictions to fool you. You'll come in and you'll be in the land and you'll say something if like you question him and he doesn't want to divulge the information, he recesses for a second, goes out of the court, and then comes back in, and now he's in the water.
I think his phone died, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, like he was getting into some stuff, man. So
Yeah.
Marty, Big Marty, pause if
What's up now?
necessary, man. What you think about it? What's your thoughts? I think we got him frozen. He
It's
froze.
deep. I be studying stuff like that.
Mm. Look, I mean, me and him had long conversations, but it still shocks me that how our system is manipulating us.
Yeah, it's all a Ponzi scheme.
That guy, what you think? Come on, what you think,
Man.
man? Go ahead. Let's keep it 1,000.
Yeah. You already know, bro. I know I can't. I'll be telling you about this off the phone, off the record, on off video and shit. I got a brother that's into all that. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, where it comes to the business and buying, getting your name back, and he's into that system part too.
Mm,
But he went down the other rabbit hole, not the rabbit hole John went down. Like,
mm.
there's two rabbit holes you can follow, and like, if you don't play the game right, you don't. And what John talking about, if you don't talk contract right, they can't fuck you over. Like, if those folks know contract, you can miss a word, and if it don't sound right, they'll tell you to redo it. You got to make sure you have it word for word, every meaning right from wrong when it comes to that contract talk. So what he's talking about is some real shit, but to get deep into it, yeah, you might want to. I don't know. If your mind ain't ready for what he's talking about, I wouldn't follow that rabbit hole. Because he's talking about some real ass shit, and it's a rabbit hole. And it comes into the play where when he was talking about the land, like, I hate to tell you, like, we all ain't from Africa, fam. Like,
Nah, that's a fact.
so, you know what I'm saying? Some of our bloodline already runs in this valley, if you want to,
That's a
whatever you
fact.
want to call it. You know what I'm saying? So when they say African American, they labeled you as what they wanted you to be labeled.
Mm-hmm.
When technically
Talk,
that ain't even your label. You know what I'm
talk.
saying? So when it comes to being, what was my coach telling me, labeled as being black, you labeling yourself. You label
Mm-hmm.
yourself as a human, and they gotta talk to you as a human. And on that court shit, it really is a different type of language. So when you go into that court system, how I was explained, it's like a court. And you got your subs on the side, and then you got the judge that's gonna be there to judge you. Like, you can actually go in there because technically, when you talk about the different laws, there's a where, let's say, like, you drinking and driving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you drinking and driving and you ain't harming nobody and you get pulled over, if you claim a number and you say it right and you give that officer all this information, he got to let you go because now you're
Mm.
talking in a different law. But if he was drunk driving and say he hit somebody, oh yeah, he going to jail. Now you done hurt somebody. Now you physically harm somebody.
Mm.
So when it comes to different laws, yeah, there's a whole situation of laws that people don't even know. And I was telling my
But
wife the other.
that's why I think when you get a lawyer, that's why they tell you to get a lawyer because they know the lingo of the courts. But the lawyer, I feel like they don't expound on everything that they know to the people. They don't.
Nah,
They
they
ain't telling us how the law is really fucking us over, but they know because they study this shit.
all right. So put it like this, man.
No, cause one thing I don't know how it work out here, but I know in Louisiana, when you get certain lawyers and all this here, and you might just so happen to be one they had to trade out to get a deal for another person, or they might owe this other lawyer or DEA a favor, or it's some money tied behind you actually getting a sentence. Stuff like that.
So yeah, if you ain't got the money to play the game, yeah, you could go ahead and take all that time. But if you got the money to play the game, then look
Yeah.
at what's his name, Young Thugger, that
Hmm.
Rico case.
Right.
That hoe been going on for how long?
Look.
You hear me? Nigga, the average person, that case should have been over a long time ago.
Look. I'm trying. If it would have been me, it would have made it past the week. Like I ain't got it, man. You done ran me dry.
You feel me? Hey, he got loan money, but did you hear what is his name? YFMA, dang, I can't think of the little rapper's name. But he got that nigga got life damn near. Double sentence to life and shit.
Mm.
So I mean, if you run out of money, play the time.
Look.
Hey, you gotta have bread to play the game, man. And if you ain't got the bread to play the game, you might as well just sit and chill.
Say, I mean, not to switch the topic. 'Cause I know. I mean, I know that we on here, but this is Sunday, so I gotta ask you a question. So before we was talking. Okay, hold on. John the historian, he's back in the building. Let me bring him up. Okay, good to have you back, man.
Yeah, I got I got to figure. Yeah. So anyhow, we have any questions or anything, or what are we doing now?
So Frank, you got any questions for John the historian?
Hey, yes. But hey, tell the people that there's two rabbit holes that they can follow if they go down that information highway.
Yeah,
Because I don't think a lot of people understand that it can put you in that state of mind to where it'll mess your whole round up for real if you're not ready for it.
that guy. I'm telling you, that is the ultimate truth. We have a choice. Anna talks about it. She says you have a choice to be an American, or you can stay because you're used to it and having somebody do everything for you. You can stay in that other system. It's okay. You're not going to be free, but in this, you're going to have to learn how to be American, how to govern yourself, how to do self governance. And the only reason that we've had this group is because when they stole us at our birth certificate, they claimed that we were uh, uh, children, and because we don't know the language, we don't know how to speak. They have to speak for us. So that that's what they rely on to steal the way they've stolen from us. We're we're youths, and we don't have any. We don't know how to take care. So I mean, somebody's got to take care of you, and that's how they justify their system. So that is exactly right. There's two ways, and just like the Matrix, once you're unplugged, it's how do you go back? How do you? Ignorance is bliss. I don't think, but that's one of the storylines. I want to go back. Well, look at the Bible. The children of Israel are coming back, and they're complaining to Moses. We want meat. I mean, are you kidding me? There's 500 million sheep and cattle and all kinds of stuff, and you want meat? They're not talking about. They're not talking about food. They're saying at least they gave us, we had shrimp, lobster, and leeks in Egypt. At least they gave us that. They want people to do it for them. This is not the way it's going to happen in this. You're going to govern yourself.
You gotta learn the
Otherwise,
contract talk.
otherwise, they're coming back and they're just going to say you can't govern yourself, so we're going to have to come do it.
Gotta
So
learn it word for word.
yeah, there is a definite choice, and we have to decide whether we want that or not, because I myself do not. Look, I've been self-governing myself, and I'm not doing anything that harms anybody. America itself has not been at war for 150 years or more. It's been since the Revolutionary War. It's been these corporate structures that have gone to war and are stealing everything out of everybody's pockets. They're stealing everything, So
That's why when
we
they say raise taxes is bad.
say it again.
I said that's when they say raise taxes, that's bad. You don't want to raise the taxes on everybody.
That's because they're bankrupt. America is not bankrupt. We are fully indemnified against all debt. Our government is not bankrupt. So I will also send over to you, TK, the it is called chart your course or chart your paperwork, and it's one of the websites from Anna. And in there, when you scroll down, you'll see Granabytes, and there's 4 videos. And you start with the longest one, and it's 47 minutes long, and she teaches you the history of America and how these guys got entrenched into our system. And then she'll tell you how to chart your course and paperwork to do your paperwork to get out of it. Because she's already gone to the U.S. government. She's gone to the Pope. She's gone to the UN. She's gone to the Crown in London, and she's read them the Riot Act. So she set up a banking system for the world to come out of their system and to come back to the tree of life where we live off of what we're supposed to.
So look, I got a question. So this is only for America?
For the world. She extended it to the world.
So how do the world play a part in this?
Okay, it will start at how does the Bible put it? By little and little will you take the land. Here a little, there a little. So where is it going to start? It's already started in Australia, New Zealand, any of the Crown Corporation places. There's people all over the world that she is in communications with. She's going to the UN. One of the reasons she found out that we weren't, as Americans, represented is when the Indian tribes went to the UN for all of their stuff, because they're indigenous people and they've been going to the UN to make sure they're represented. They came back and told her, hey, y'all aren't being represented at the UN. She goes, well, what do you mean? Our government's there. No, they're representing the U.S. government, not America. Well, that's an eye-opener for most people because they don't know the difference. They think they're the same thing, but they are not. So when that happened, she began to go there and find out what was going on. And ever since then, you see that there's a movement, a nationalist movement. And are y'all familiar with Agenda 2025 or Agenda 2030? Mm-mm. It's a UN agenda. It started out like Agenda 2010. Well, they couldn't implement it in that amount of time because people started waking up, and it went to 2020, and now it's 2030, and now they're talking about something. It's not agenda, but it's something 2025. Some kind of
Project 2025.
Huh?
Project 2025.
Yes. Yes.
From my understanding, this was made for Trump. From what I've been hearing, this was made for Trump. But Trump, he's saying that he don't stand by this. He didn't, he have no parts of this whatsoever. He trying to detach himself from this. But some of the stuff is it's kind of wild.
Like what?
Um, for instance, let me calculate. Let me think.
They,
So
they,
so I just seen a YouTube video about this the other day. Trying to think.
they said, there. Here's one where they said that in there that that he's going to be able to call the army to attack the American people, or be able to have the ability to have the army attack the American people, or something like that.
Yeah,
Now, if you know anything about Trump, he would
Exactly.
never say that.
right.
Never. Despite, look, I don't trust him fully, but he's been since he was young that what they're doing to this country is wrong, and all he's been
Yep.
promoting is America.
Yep.
Mhm.
So to me that's propaganda. But I don't know. I don't know for
See,
sure.
when it comes to the whole Trump thing, all right, check me out. Hey, Trump, I say back in president, because I want my money back. You hear me? I just want my money back. You know what I'm saying? And then what people ain't understanding is before Biden won and they had that debate back then, right? And they said if Trump was to stay as president, that there was going to be wars, that there would be no middle class, that there would be, you know what I'm saying, this and that. But as soon as he became president, what happened? We was at war.
Mhm.
Middle class, middle class gone. You can't even say that there is no middle class. The middle class people that you thought were middle class ain't even middle class no more. So Trump might, hey, I just speak with peace. I want Trump or somebody that's gonna give me my money and not go play with my
Well,
money. You know what I'm saying?
here's the deal. This is why I don't trust him. They've been talking about the republic,
Mhm.
Right.
all right, but it's not American.
No.
It is British Federation Republic. It's not going to be American. Anna von Reitz is the only contact to the true American Republic.
I heard we ain't been in America for a long time.
No, we have not. It's been
Mhm.
operating in the
It's
background,
operating. Right.
but only two of the original four institutes are running. The first two are still running, and they're still in operation, and they are being rebuilt as we speak right now. So it won't be long before, like, look, if we can get, if two of y'all can understand and come out of that system, you're going to take your family with you. Your
Right.
family is going to start accumulating the inheritance that they were owed from the very beginning of these crooks coming in. These are pirates of the Caribbean, the
Right.
Skull and Bones guys that came into the land and took over. And they're using their corporate law to do it. It's not supposed to be maritime law here on the land. It's supposed to be common law.
Mhm.
But we didn't know the difference. Now people are waking up and understanding. It's a completely. Once you become an American, you're like you have diplomatic immunity, just like the guys that come in from the UN and they come in here and they kill everybody and they come and kill their prostitutes and they'll get little boys and little girls and they'll chop them up and they'll catch them and they say, hey, we got diplomatic immunity. We're going back to the uh, going back home. You can't do anything to us. Well, basically, that's what it is here. They have no jurisdiction over you. The Crown Corporation, which is your Republican Party, or the Vatican, which is the Democratic Party. And that's who you're voting for. You're voting for a foreign nation to rule over you. Now, what you're supposed to be priests, but we want kings like the rest of the world. Don't you understand what the kings of the earth are going to do to you? They're going to take your money. They're going to take your land. They're going to take your. But we want to be like it. Okay, that's what you want. You order crap, you eat crap. And that's what we've done.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know this is a little off topic, but it come to mind because when you said, man, you said the not the Indian people, but you said the started with an N. No, it started with an N. I'll think of it in a minute.
National.
For the color, it was like a color. And I'll think about it in a minute. My head is losing it because I was over here thinking, hey, can you explain a $5 Indian? No. Yeah, I know about the $5 Indian. I had to look it up.
Well, what is it?
Look, what is a $5 Indian? I'm clueless.
Okay, so check me up. You can look this. You can look this up. You can really look this up. My coach told me about this. A $5 Indian. So basically, back in the day, the reason why we all think that I guess Indians are like white colored or whatever, or their last names are this and that, is because they paid $5 to put their name on this list, and they knew that the Indians couldn't afford it. So for your name to say that you're an Indian, your family paid $5 to put their last name on this list just to say that they're Indian, but they're really not Indian.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
I don't.
And so I looked it up. I looked it up to make sure. I looked it up years ago, and it's true. Like it's true, and we learned it in history. I don't know if anybody remember it, but we learned it in history too in high school.
I'm working with a lady. She has Indian.
Mm-hmm.
They come from the Cherokee tribes.
Right.
And the government gave them numbers, not names. So to register with the government to get money because you're an Indian, you had to have a number. Oh. Well, her mother or grandmother was had been persecuted so bad she didn't want to have anything to do with it, and so she threw that number away. But look what they're doing with the American Indians today. They're multimillionaires.
Yeah,
they have access to an account. But yeah, the what they did to the indigenous people here.
Indigenous, there it is. Indigenous people. What's indigenous means? What?
That they're connected to the land. They're the first ones on the land.
And that was copper colored people, right?
I'm telling you, they're probably black.
Hey, man. He goes deep. He goes way deep into it. Yes, sir.
Well, look, we're all some depth of melanin, you know.
Yes, sir. We are.
So, I don't know how the change actually happened, where you got lighter skin, but it's got to be, just lighter skinned people with interbreeding and right. Some, but I don't know.
Yeah, that goes into like a whole nother genetic part of the world where like if you believe in I guess Pangea.
Is that tell me what that is? I think I've heard of it.
So Pangea is where like all the continents, right? Continents were connected together. And so, like, if you look at how when everything was connected together, you have Africa, then you have America, then you have Europe, and then you have, like, I guess you would call Alaska up at the top.
Russia.
So they're all, right. So they're all connected. So everything together. So if you say life comes from Africa, right? So Africa was connected to America. So, like, say if you look at the line, if you're in Africa, a certain part of Africa, you could cross the line and be over into the United States. And so they're saying in Pangea, it separated. So when it separated, everything went to, going around the world and separated everything. So one part of the world, you need a lot of melanin, and the other side, you didn't need a lot of melanin. So you got the light skin, light color. But how true is that? We don't know. But I do know where, if you talk about Egypt, not Egypt, but like British. I don't think people know that there's such thing as black British, and you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, like black French and black, that it's all over, and that there's light skin for British and French and all that, and then like it just mix in, So we all play, but over here in America, we play the race card.
Yeah.
We play the black and white card, but over there they don't play the black and white card as much.
No, it is different. Because I've been over there quite a bit, and it's nothing like what. Look, the only reason that we have any kind of racism here in the United States, in my estimation, is the black community during the 30s, before the wars and before the depressions. They were one of the most
Bless you.
what's the word I'm looking for? They were
They had
about decent people. They weren't criminals like what they made out to. They were families, and they cared for their families, and most people are like that. We're not built to hate everybody and want to kill everybody.
no.
So they were one of the most moral groups of people in the United States. But the government, who is not American, made a decision. We're going to take their jobs away from them. And they've been doing it ever since. The jobs have been going out of this country ever since.
Yep.
And what are you going to do to make money? They did the same thing in Somalia. They went in there and they took the jobs away from the Somalian people. And now who's making money in Somalia? Well, it's the smugglers. Well, if you want to make any money and feed your family, you're going to invest in these guys because nobody else is making money. They're making money. Well, that's what they did here. And they forced the black community into the drug culture and got them away from their families, because their number one objective is to destroy the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
And
out of the family.
And they started with the blacks. They went to the different cultures. Today they're doing it to the white culture, because
That is true.
divorce.
Mm-hmm.
The divorce is rampant. Now that gets into another subject.
Look, you talking, John.
Okay, but I believe the number one reason for divorce is because we're going to be talking to men here. Okay,
Let's go.
most men can't please their woman.
Talk about it.
I'm sorry.
Look. They don't want to have this uncomfortable discussion, man. Hey, go ahead and talk, John.
Okay. Now, the only reason I can talk about this is because I've done the work. I have done the work, and I know for a fact that it works.
Okay.
It's going to take about at least 20, 25 minutes for a woman to achieve orgasm. How long does it take for a man?
Shit.
2 to 5 minutes. You can be done.
Nah, talk the
Right.
truth. That's a fact. That's a fact, man.
Frustrated. All you're doing is impregnating her. She's pregnant all the time, and she's not enjoying it, and she's frustrated. and life at home is a problem. Now the man can do 2 exercises and take care of that, and she will. The best words you'll ever hear is, "Daddy, I'm done."
Talk.
Daddy, now your Bible is.
You going in and out. They don't want you to talk about this, man. You going in and out, but they talk about it.
I'm telling you, because that book is about the body.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a story in it, and it's about Judah, when he leaves Israel and he goes into Canaan, and he goes and he marries this Canaanite woman, and he has 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. So you got to go into the names of the meaning of the names, and but the picture language is all about meditation. So Onan, the first son, the picture language means the eye and the head, which is the pineal gland. It says that he did wrong in the sight of God, and God killed him. Man, God's not killing nobody, you know. So he ends up dying, but he was married to Tamar, and her name is the palm tree. She's upright. She's upright and straight. Well, so the old man tells the next son, Onan, says, "Hey, go take care of her and have a son for your brother, so he'll have, you know, an inheritance." And it says Onan went in and he spilt his seed. So he wouldn't impregnate him. He spilt his seed on the ground. And so he did wrong in the sight of God, and God killed him. Well, Judah don't want him to have her to have the next son. I mean, she's a kid killer. She's killing all his boys, you know. So you go back to your dad's house and you wait, and when Sheila's old enough, I'll give him to you, but not until then. Anyhow, the sin of masturbation comes from the name of Onan, because we're spilling our seed. Now, I'm just going to tell you this: the realm of death for a man begins when, as a young boy, he starts spilling his seed. And look, I don't blame him. It's a great toy. World.
The greatest.
Right? It's the toy in the world. You don't have to buy me nothing. But you start dying because you're losing massive amounts of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, trace minerals, every time the ejaculation happens. So the ancients understood this. That's how they lived for thousands of years. And John tells you, if you keep your seed within you, in the book of Revelation, or not in the book of 1 John, I think. 1 John, he tells you, if you keep your seed within you, then these things will happen. And he's talking about sperm. Sperma is the word. So, number one, the book is about the body and meditation, how to become the high priest in your temple. You've got to have that energy from the sperm in order to push a little drop of oil that is produced from the pineal gland down through the kidneys. The kidneys produce a little bitty tiny drop of oil. In ancient times, that oil was known as the Son of Man. But the Son of Man has to rise up from the earth back up to heaven, right? So how are you going to do that? The Kundalini, or the serpent energy, is needed in order to bring that oil back up to the pineal gland. Now, this oil is produced once every 29 and a half days. When the moon goes into your sun sign, your body produces this. So if you waste it, you got to wait another month. But what happens is your pineal gland resonates at 144 hertz. Anybody familiar with that number? 144? 144,000 that are redeemed from the earth. All right. 12 times 12 is 144. You have 12 systems based on 12 disciples, 12 apostles, 12 whatever. You know, it's a numbers game. But anyhow, when that oil is pushed back through meditation and the man uses his energy, his sperm energy, to push it up, when it touches pineal gland, Peniel, where Jacob met with God and didn't die and his life was preserved, your brain, your pineal gland resonates 1,000 times higher in frequency. That's 144,000. That's what that's talking about. But for a man, there's 2 exercises. And we'll get graphic, not too graphic, but one is anybody familiar with the Kegel squeezes that women do to help with their incontinence?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're going to do that as a man. You're going to do that 250 times a day for a year.
Mm-mm.
For a year. It's going to take you at least 11 months to a year for you to do these exercises and get good at it. So what that does is you're going to go to the restroom, you're going to stand up while you're taking a whiz, and you're going to stop your pee.
Oh.
That muscle that's used to stop your pee surrounds your prostate gland. And it's going to squeeze your prostate gland. And you're going to squeeze it 250 times. You can break it down. You do it. You're going to work in the morning 50 times when you go to work. But you got to find this muscle first. You got to isolate it from your anus and from everything else. You got to concentrate on that muscle 250 times. Then you're going to it's going to hurt at first because you're not using it. It's like any other muscle. You don't use it. You're in pain. You're going to have to massage and do all kinds of stuff. Then you're going to have to sharpen your knife. And you're going to take your penis and you're going to pull skin back and you're going to take oil and you're going to grab it at the base and you're going to squeeze all the way to the tip 250 times a day. But you're trying not to, let it fly, right? So you have to back off and you let it relax, rest. And so
Go ahead and talk, man.
Huh?
Go ahead and talk. I'm learning some new stuff, man. Go ahead and talk, man.
I'll tell you later. But you're going to do it. You're going to grab it. And you're going to do it down 250 times down. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You're going to go to the right. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You're going to go to the left. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You're going to go up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And you're going to take it a little bit of an erection, just a little, and then you're going to squeeze in 50 times. You can do that for a year. You're going to gain control because what you're doing, you're desensitizing the gland, the penis glands, the head of the gland, the head of the penis. And because a woman is water and a man is fire, and water puts out fire. And you're going to learn how to stay in longer. And when you do that, you're going to please your baby girl. And she'll never leave you.
Look, you talk, but look, this might be a little uncomfortable, conversation with some people, but we as men, we was never taught, to work out that, that muscle,
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense though. With any body part that you have, you work out your arms, your legs, your chest, your traps, your calves. So I mean, it only makes sense.
Okay.
And
So,
what you're saying by gaining control, that makes a lot of sense too.
yeah. So look, you're having trouble with ED, right? What do they tell you? What's the problem? I mean, these commercials are everywhere. You can't get away from it. What's the problem?
Can't get up?
Huh?
What, you can't get up?
Yeah. Why though? Why are they telling you this? No blood flow.
Blood flow. Okay.
Blood flow. I'm sorry, gentlemen. It has nothing to do with blood. You got to have sperm. That's your power. You have to keep your sperm in you. You have to have sperm in you. Boxers,
Makes sense.
they got no energy if they're having sex before they box, right? Runners, got no legs. Skaters, got no legs, if you believe me, as a young man.
I mean, that makes So, because a lot of people in sports and stuff like that, especially the ones that take care of their body, they say they don't do no sexual activities before any big event or a game or anything like that.
Yeah. Now, but what if I tell
I don't
that?
know. I used to.
Look, well, first of all, I'm going to tell you where it comes from. The the Chinese emperor, the most important person in the economy. Why? Because he has to service all the princesses from all the provinces around his castle. And if he doesn't service them and keep them happy, what happens? Daddy, King Hua is not seeing me. I'm not happy over here. And Daddy comes to go to war. Why aren't you taking care of my baby? And they go to war. Well, the Chinese emperors are dying young. Why? Because they got no seed in it. Once you waste all your seed, you die. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. So as long as you've got sperm, you're alive. You ain't got no more sperm. When you wasted it all, you're dead. You're gonna die on top of that woman. Trying one more time to satisfy yourself and her. And that's why men die out. Now the reason is when you're ejaculating and you want to have sex the next day or the next week or whenever, your body has got to reproduce that energy. And so you've wasted all those vitamins, nutrients, and minerals. It's got to go someplace to get it. Where's it go? Kidneys first. It goes and pulls everything out of your kidneys. Look at all the kidney stones. Look at all the problems with kidneys, replacing kidneys and all kinds of stuff. Then it goes to the brain. Look at all your Alzheimer's and your Joe Bidens and, you can't think. They got no brain. They're dead. Then it goes to your heart. Look at all the heart problems, heart valves. And, they're replacing hearts everywhere. Now they're, doing all kinds of stuff with the hearts. Then after that's all gone, it's got to go to the rest of your body. So they went to the geisha girls and teach us how to keep our emperors alive. The geisha girls taught them. They taught them these two exercises. The emperor was so impressed with this that whenever anybody in his kingdom got married, he had a book written and gave it to that newlywed couple. And they had one on their bed stand for them to study and to do. Well, when the Chinese Communist Party came in, and you know who started the Communist Party in China?
Who?
The Rothschilds.
Who?
The Rothschilds. The Rockefellers.
Oh, okay.
The criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they want to make money. You can't make money on healthy people.
Nope.
Now the women.
You can't use herbs. Sorry.
The women can do. Taoism teaches the women how to do breathing exercises and concentrate to take the energy out of their ovaries, so that they can have sex without. It's a built-in birth control. So the women can do this too. The men are holding on. They're not ejaculating all the time. There's a formula where you can so many times as you at different ages, and it gets less as you get older. But
not to cut your wisdom, John. But what people don't a lot of people don't know, what kills sperm is sugar. A lot of people don't know, but what kills a lot of sperm is sugar. And what do they feed kids?
That's all they get. Yeah,
Sugar.
You know what's replacing the sperm now?
What?
The spike protein out of those shots. It's replacing men's sperm. So we can talk about what to do with those shots some other time, because you can undo it.
Right.
It's uncomfortable.
But man, John, not to cut your wisdom, man, we gonna need a part 2 of this, because it's getting kind of late. At 9:00, my wife started, to tap on the door. So but we gonna have most definitely have to have a part 2, because you were dropping some gems, and I want to have the next time we have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, and
talk about them.
And like you were dropping some jewels, especially the last part. A lot of men need to understand and know this, because You have to please your woman.
Yeah,
A lot of these women are not submitting to you because you're not pleasing them.
exactly.
A lot of y'all having women problems because they're not pleased. They might tell you that they are, but they not. That's why you have women problems. I never seen a woman that's satisfied completely be upset.
Well, I mean, I could teach you.
Look, hey, John the historian, man. Hey,
Trade.
but on the cool though, no funny was all aside, but that's some really stuff that we need to teach our boys.
Yeah,
Especially my young boys and stuff like that, because that do make sense. You keep on spilling your seed. You like you said, you spill enough of it, you die.
yeah.
And I never really thought about that you spill a life out of you, and that's real deep. That's deep.
So the boys need to know as soon as you catch them, and you got to catch them.
Yeah.
You don't berate them for that. You say, okay, hey, whoa, all right, I got something for you. I'm going to teach you something that's going to make you a samurai warrior in the bedroom.
No. But
You're
look,
gonna
on the
be
cool,
ready.
we need to teach our boys this because we hold the power.
Exactly.
And a lot of people might not believe that, but as men, we hold the power, and we
Exactly.
need to learn how to control that power.
And
So,
to educate the youth.
right, that's a fact. So, man, I
So,
appreciate you, John, for coming over here, man. John, go ahead and get the people, your name and what you about, just in case they come in the tail end of this. Go ahead and give your credentials out to the people.
my name, I-
Yes,
I'm
sir.
I'm John Abeda. I've been a rabbi. I'm not Jewish, but at my work they call me the Lowe's Rabbi because of the
Okay.
wig. But I am a jeweler at heart and a Bible teacher. But I do not teach the parable story that they teach in the churches. I teach in the mystery level, which is all about energy and how energy works, especially in the temple. And that's where all of this information came from, is learning about energy and how it works within the body and how consciousness works within the body. Um, and so that's my passion, that's my life, and all the other stuff I do just to be able to do this.
Man, I sure appreciate you coming on this platform and dropping these jewels and knowledge to the people. And hopefully, somebody heard some good information and they can use towards their life. And let's come back to America. Let's get off that water, get off that boat, that citizenship. Let's get up off that boat and come to land. Let's come back to America. So, man, but we will talk about that in part two because we really didn't tap into the citizenship and being on a boat. But we're gonna tap into that in part two of this for this season. So again, John, appreciate you for coming on here. Hey, if anybody got any questions for him before you dip out, any
Oh man,
questions?
I had it. No, I had it. I had it and
Okay,
it fell off. It fell off.
okay. So in part two, John, hey, we gonna be cooking again. But again, thank you for jumping on here, and we'll see you next time.
All right, anytime, my friend, anytime.
So okay,
Oh
so what?
damn! I did need a. I was time to ask for a grill. Fuck. Indian jeweler. Damn it. That's what it really was. Dang. Necklace piece, diamond, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Indian jeweler at
Hey,
heart.
so look, next time we can ask the John the historian, aka John the jeweler. You know,
Jeweler, you hear me?
so we'll
Nah,
ask
for
him
real.
those questions. But how you feel about the information that he gave to you?
It was straight. It put truth to it. I mean, because I done heard it many a times. I mean, the business part is where I mean most people probably would have wanted to hear. I don't think a lot of people understand the part where like getting your name back and all that. I don't think a
Right.
lot of people understand that. But if it went, I think a lot of people should want to hear his business side because there's a lot of people trying to start businesses. So, and use that as like, but at the same time, like still the contract talk where
Mm-hmm.
you can start a business and then next thing you know you can go and get this and get this with your business, but at the same time you can get it without going through certain stuff. But you gotta have the contract talk and know how to talk contract. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
if you don't know how to talk that contract talk, one slip up in that wordplay will mess you up. Because you know how they say your words are spells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. And when they
Mm.
talk about when he talking about the meditation and medicine, that comes in with the manifestation. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like your temple, your body. Like if you clean your body every now and again, like they do overseas, where they get the worms and stuff out their bodies, like they really cleanse their body. And what if you? I mean, I can't say too much because I mean I'm scared to really just do that because that comes to where they say like it takes all your poop out your system. Like it takes everything out, and you start seeing like the worms and shit in your body that you didn't know that you had. So then after you do that, you will get more energy. Because 9 times out of 10, you really ain't supposed to be eating a shit ton of meat like we do.
Right.
Like vegetables and stuff like that, that comes into play. And that's natural sugar. But when it comes into that beef and, you know what I'm saying, getting it from the stores, pork. Pork is one. Everybody wants to eat pork. But if you eat pork, then you know how they say whatever that animal eats, it goes into that meat.
Right.
Well, you got to think about it like this: a pig will eat anything, right?
Right.
So if a pig eats a human body, where is that human body going?
And to the meat.
Into that, into the meat. So that's why a lot of people say don't eat pork because pigs' meat is really dirty. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it eats anything. Now a cow it eats grass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when that cow is eating grass, nothing but grass, you get grass fed meat and shit like that. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
getting the protein out of that grass because what? Grass is really protein for the human body anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to eat plants.
Look,
You know
that's
what
a
I'm
fact.
saying?
Look, I was a vegetarian for about 3 years, but I need to get back on that train, though, man. I'm not gonna hold you. I need to get back on
And
that train.
and that's how you cleanse your body. You cleanse your body from all that meat and all that right there. You hear me? Like for real, for real. Your body is like a car. You gotta change the oil sometime. Change that oil. What's gonna happen? That shit gonna break down.
And
That's
seeing
why I
like
got some
what John
lettuce.
was saying, though, the body is the temple, you know,
Hmm.
and it was talking about the third eye and the horns and all of it makes sense. So like, it makes sense. So, I'm glad that he was on here, that he can drop this knowledge, his wisdom. Hey, Marty Mar, you still with us or you just ducked off?
Duck dog.
Hey Marty, so what you thought about the information?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, fascinated. I love knowledge first of all, but it go deep beneath. He was going deep
Look,
beneath surface.
What's your son doing?
look, he sure was, man. He was dropping some jewels, especially like towards the end when he was talking about, we need to stop ejaculating, man. We was taught as young as, go out there and get it, but at the same time, we was, we're not as strong as
Nah,
we should be. You
they
know,
said if you mess with it too long, you gonna go blind, my boy.
look, hey, that's what they said too, man.
If you take it too long in the bathroom, you playing, you tripping. You hear me?
Look,
Like
that's
I
why
don't
look,
know,
they was
man.
saying at the end, like we need to teach our young men this, because
Mm,
certifying a woman is, one of the reasons why a lot of these men be having problems at home because they don't be laying the wood down, man. So
hey,
we need to teach them.
say man, you already
Hey,
know what they into, man.
man.
I don't even want to speak it out here, but you already know they do too much, man.
Look, look,
Hey.
man. But man, look, I appreciate y'all for jumping on the show, man. This show was almost it was an hour and 50 minutes long, man. So go ahead and that guy go ahead and give your shout outs, your outro, as we may say in the music business. Go ahead and give him your outro.
Holla at your boy.com. I guess you can see my youngin in the background, man. He always trying to get into the show, man. Hey, you're gonna be able to check him out here pretty soon with the 10U Gators, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Hey, and that's another thing. Get ready for. Hey, gonna have some media stuff on that too.
Hey, and it's gonna be live, man. Y'all gotta stay tuned.
Sure. Yes, sir. Don't forget about that. We're trying to put together a youth channel.
Look,
so get ready for it. We're coming live.
It's gonna be live. Hey, support the youth, man.
Yes, sir.
So appreciate you coming on here, man. I'll holler at you next time, man. Look out, little youngin. Salute to you, man.
Hey, salute back, bro.
All right, man. We at the end of it. Shout out to everybody. Y'all know it's TK the Poet. Y'all already know it, so you ain't gotta. Y'all know the slogan by now. So, but stay tuned, man. We got more stuff that's coming up. More podcast show. John the Historian gonna be on here another time. Part 2 coming up. Like you said, the youth football channel is gonna drop. So we're gonna get into this and we'll give y'all some good content. But also, my wife don't want me to tell y'all, but I'm trying to convince her to start our podcast back up, man. So beautifully, us will be back in the building. So she just don't know, but we gonna get that podcast jumping. She gonna be back on here. So until then, man, we holler. Stay tuned. Hey, again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, TK the Poet, Black Room Media. We here. We the business. We out. Not yet, but we finna be out long as soon as I find this outro. But yeah, we out. TK the Poet. We out.